All right, Shamoun, so let's go ahead
Okay,
and
dokes. Okay. So my first question is the basic question is, was Aisha really a child of 6 years of age when Muhammad married her? Is that true?
according to Islamic sources, this is true. Now, we need to define that the Islamic sources that make this claim are the Sira, which today are termed effectively the biographies of Muhammad, or would be the Gospels of Muhammad, right?
Yeah,
So we have evidence from the Sira that, and from also one of the major scholars of Islam, Sheikh al-Islam Ibn Kathir, who is one of the 28 major
yeah,
scholars of Islam, right? So he is one of the
yeah,
foundational scholars of Islam. So we have that. We also have the Sahih Hadith. We have Sahih Bukhari, multiple attestations, as well as Sahih Muslim and others. Now, don't forget, it is
okay,
considered obligatory
yeah.
that Muslims must believe. It is obligatory for Muslims to accept the Sahih Hadith. It is obligatory for Muslims to accept a Mutawatir Hadith. So, therefore, this evidence is considered rock solid and it must be believed as if they were present and witnesses to the event.
Okay, so let me get this right. So basically, you're saying that the Islamic sources 100% confirms that Aisha was 6 years of age when Muhammad married her.
Yeah, we can go to the sources. Let me just pop up my first source. Um,
Okay, so let's have a look.
I don't have OneNote listed, so I'm going to grab the whole screen. Okay, I'm grabbing the entire screen here. Right, so this is in my OneNote database, and I will be doing a show on the channel at some point to discuss women in Islam, which includes Aisha. Now, this is from the Sirat Ibn Kathir, volume 2, page 94, and I can provide a link to this book if people are interested. So after the show, I can link to this. Urwa stated, here's Mursal, incomplete. So anyway, his statement, he contracted marriage with Aisha when she was 6, thereafter consummating with her when she was 9, is not disputed by anyone and is well established in the Sahih collections of traditions and elsewhere. And that is from Ibn Kathir, one of the prime scholars of Islam, one of the top 28 scholars of all time in Islam. Thunderous one. So Allah caused women to mature earlier than men, so by implication, women are superior to males. That's an interesting implication. That so so women are more mature by male than males by Allah's design. So yeah, that would be an interesting implication. Now, on the website
Hmm.
Islam QA, refutation of the lie that the Prophet married Aisha when she was 18. So they're attempting to refute the lie that she was 18. And it says here,
It's interesting that you say that because that's one very common and regular response that I generally get is that no, she was not 6, she was 18, etc., etc. And so it's interesting that this website specifically calls that out and says that that is a lie.
so in answer to your question, there is no validity to this. Clearly, there's great embarrassment and shame. Now, unfortunately, so you can go through the Sahih Hadith, and of course, Muslims will dispute this, and they do, as we've seen. However, as I said, it is obligatory for Muslims to believe the Sahih as if they were witnesses. This is part of what is required of a Muslim, right? If he's a follower of Islam, then he has to abide by what Muhammad has brought, and Muhammad's message is, of course, in the Hadith and in the Sirah. Now, even more so, if we examine Islamic law, we start to see very, very clearly that Islamic law is predicated on the marriage of adult males with infants, and of course, even with underage boys with adult women. And they certainly speak of infant children, young girls underage having to wait to see if they've fallen pregnant before they can be divorced, girls being divorced before pregnancy, young girls being non-virgins. We're talking underage girls, and we can go through the actual Islamic law and we can see for ourselves how Muhammad's example, his sunnah, has now been incorporated
Yeah.
into actual Islamic laws.
There's a book on that, isn't it, from by Ibn Taymiyyah,
Uh,
The Unsheathed Sword.
yeah, okay, I'll briefly run through that then. So this is the book here. I'm showing it right now on the screen. The summary of the unsheathed sword against the one who insults the messenger by Sheikh al-Islam. Again, one of the 28 most revered, most influential, most important scholars, most learned scholars of Islam, Sheikh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah. The book is the unsheathed sword against the one who insults the messenger, and I'll show here the very first entry within the index. Whoever insults the Prophet is to be killed, whether they are Muslim or a disbeliever. So to disparage Muhammad is to insult him, and the penalty is death. Killing is prescribed on the one who insults the Prophet, and it is not permissible to imprison or show favor to him or to ransom him. Any Muslim or non-Muslim who insults the Prophet is to be killed, and repentance is not sought from him. I'll do one more reference from the book, actually two, but this one. The contents of this book concern the Islamic ruling upon those who insult Muhammad, right? And so this is the purpose of this book, to discuss the Islamic law on those who insult Muhammad.
Okay, scholars have consensus that whoever insults the messenger. Now, insulting is, it's interesting that it's defined attributing a defect to him. Then such a person is a disbeliever, and that whoever doubts such a person's disbelief, they too are guilty of disbelief. Oh my goodness, that's the Muslim who insults is killed.
So to believe that Muhammad is less than, to not believe Muhammad is perfect, is blasphemy. To fail to believe that Muhammad is perfect.
That's very interesting.
But we're going to see that because Islamic law very explicitly allows marriage to little girls, right? This is so simply because Muhammad married a little girl, and therefore the scholars say that this is then allowed.